What up, Dokkanners? We are going to be going over the best teams to run with the new LR Cell Max. This monster is finally on the scene. Congratulations, or my condolences on your summons. Regardless of your outcome, you might want to know how to run this character and get the most out of the character. And then in this video, I'm going to be doing just that. We're going to be going through some teams that I feel are the best ways to bring the most out of Cell Max himself, while also providing optimization for the entire team. And when it comes to optimization, this guy is the epitome of that when it comes to movie boss optimization. Before we jump in, I am going to be going over a few things about the character, like breaking down just quickly what he does. We're going to talk about links, we're going to talk about lead buffs, and then we'll jump in. We're going to be doing a double Cell Max lead first, then we'll go over some of his best teams on other characters' leads, and then we will do no new units at the end of the video. This is based on my opinion, so if you guys feel that there are certain combinations or certain setups that might be better or deserve a shout out, do let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to try to be as generalized as possible when it comes to the various like combinations and whatnot. There's going to be a lot of overlap, and I'll tell you right now, Metal Cooler Physical is all over this video. Before, when I was kind of getting ready to plan out this video, we didn't have Metal Cooler's Easy 8 announced, but before I made this, thankfully we got it and we saw what he does. He will be involved in virtually every best case scenario for Cell Max. He is exactly what Cell Max needs to be complete. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and break down the character and use the timestamps if you want to jump around. Basically, this guy is a monster right away and hits the ground running, who slowly tapers off over time. So he is sort of contradictory to other characters who sort of need a couple of turns to get the ball rolling. This guy will make a statement right away. 1000% attack and defense. Over the course of 10 turns, he will lose up to just under half of his overall stats, leading him to about 555, which is obviously a shell of what he once was. But initially, while everyone else is cooking and getting stronger, he will be leading the charge, protecting the rotations, and slowly getting weaker, while also providing some great support early on. He has extra protection turn 1, at which point from turn 2 onwards, that extra protection starts to convert into various mini conditions, all stemming around health restrictions. If his health is above 20%, he gets a certain support. If his health is above 50%, he gets certain stuff. If his health is above 80%, he gets certain stuff. Generally speaking, you want to be above 80% to basically get all of this again down here. And if you continue to do that, then you basically would never have lost this. He will have guaranteed critical when he launches 20 key or more on his supers. Key might be an issue in certain situations, but he does have an additional key plus 1 per key to obtain. Basically, his weaknesses are long form events and events where your health is not properly managed. If you've got characters that can provide decent amounts of regen, then that is going to be far less of a problem. If you have characters who can help you speed your way through fights before this guy drops off too much, that can also overcome that weakness. But the best thing about the character is his domain. Turn 1 and turn 2, he will provide a 60% attack buff to all movie boss characters. This Cell Max on turn 1, if he uses this when surrounded by movie boss allies, he can do a ton of damage while also boasting the full 1000% attack and defense, also while allowing all other movie bosses to do just their own insane amounts of damage. You could wait for this guy to naturally get it on turn 5 on teams outside of movie bosses, but if you do that, you are going to lose a lot of your speed because he will have dropped off a little bit. Not a lot, but you'll lose a considerable amount. So that is a little breakdown on how the character works. A monster first, who starts to taper off later. In terms of link buddies, let's take a look at the links here. Links are pretty much twofold. You've got the big bad boss movie boss type links. So big bad boss, fierce battle, legendary power, nightmare. Those are kind of the prototypical big bad boss type links. And then you've got Infighter, Android Assault, Berserker. Berserker is one of those links. It's kind of like break glass in case of emergency. You don't really want to be resorting to this link. This is a Broly link, but when you do drop below 50%, you get an extra 30% attack. And this is only going to proc when you're adjacent to other Berserkers, which is again, a Broly link. Android Assault is your only source of additional key. You're not going to be getting this too much. And ideally on movie boss teams, you're not going to be getting this at all because no other movie boss is an Android except for Android 13, who is, no. So let's go ahead and look at his best link buddies. We are going to see it is basically just all the big bad bosses that are top tier. So with 4 links, you've got Rose. You do have some nice synergy right there. 75% attack, 25% defense. You've got Metal Cooler, his best friend, 75% attack, 25% defense. This is probably your best friend in terms of androids, and you will see him on one of the teams coming up. He will provide 50% attack, 20% defense with an additional key +2, making your supering at 20 key a little bit easier. Then down here at 3 links, we start to broaden the selection here. You got Broly. I feel like this will be a good long form event type of combination. Obviously, he gets weaker, but as he gets weaker, this guy gets stronger. And that Berserker is the break glass in case of emergency scenario that I was talking about. Goma, Metal Cooler, even Turles and Beast is in here, but that's because of Infighter. So at this point, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power, you can actually get some nice summonable LR combinations with 35% attack, but then extra characters like Beast will give you that additional stuff. So yeah, not the greatest in terms of like 5 links, 6 links, but that's just because of his design. He just doesn't have all that, but this is still fine. Now, in terms of his 200% leads, you can, by the way, you can check all these options on Dokkan Database. Dokkan Database, if you want to see the best link buddies, you scroll down here and you see show more, and then you will see this screen with all of these characters that are compatible. If you want to see the best leads that he fits under, you click on 200% leads right here. And this is what we've got. So in terms of beyond 200%, it's these 4 characters. I thought that it would have also been Baby Vegeta, but he doesn't have final trump card. This Cell Max isn't using that final attack that he uses against Special Beam Cannon. So he is not on final trump card like his STR counterpart. Not that you would have run this guy anyway, because he kind of sucks in terms of team building. But these 4 are what you're going to be seeing in this video. Double lead Cell Max, and then 3 team comps with these guys. And then we'll go into no new units. No new units, it's just Movie Boss. Not going to work with him. Not going to work with him. Your only options for no new units are going to be the Brolys and Frieza, who only gets a partial leader skill. So kind of bleak for now, but it will get better with time. And this, again, you can see on Dokkan Database right here, which is awesome. In terms of leader skill buffs, you can click on that right here under leader skill. That will show you all characters that apply under the leader skill. Since he's a singular lead, it's not that hard to figure out. But, you know, in other cases where a character has multiple primary leads, multiple secondary leads, you would see all the combinations listed on this page. So all these movie bosses are ones that you're going to be seeing in this video. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and compile our first team on Dokkan Stats. Shout out to Dokkan Stats and Dokkan Database for all the resources here. I've got them both linked down below in the description. Use them. They are awesome. So let's go ahead and compile our first team, and then after that, I will fast forward through the rest. So we're running double Cell Max for this one. We are going to have Metal Cooler in basically every team. He is just that good. He is that guy. And then after that, we're going to bring in all the other recent and dominant big bad bosses. Movie big bad boss. All right, so we got all of these boys. Okay, so let's go ahead and restructure a little. Oh wait, crap, what the, who are you? Get out of here. What the, you. All right, there we go. Our first best team, it is the best way to bring the most out of the Cell Max. Double Cell Max. Why? Remember that domain? If you're surrounded by movie bosses, you will instantly open up with that domain for 2 turns. The thing about the Cell Max, he is the best version of himself on turn 1. So he will do the most amount of damage on that first turn. But then after that, he doesn't have the domain. But if you're running double Cell Max, both Cell Maxes will get to use the domain and capitalize on that damage for 2 turns. The first turn at 1000%. The second turn, they'll lose 111% attack and defense, but they'll still be the second best version of themselves and still launching the second most amount of damage on that domain. So this is the best way to do that. And then not just them, but everybody else. After both of the domains eventually run out, you could then resort to this guy using his domain to then provide even more damage to everybody else. So there is just support all over the place. There is regen. There is insane amounts of regen strictly from this Metal Cooler alone. Then on top of that, we get some regen with this guy, plus insane supports for the coolers, for everybody. Also rotating stat buffs with him for multiple turns. This guy can provide some heals. This guy provides rotating support for everybody. This guy's immediate effect with all that support is going to be insane. He is already one of the best damagers of all time. But with this, he actually might potentially even work his way into the top 10, maybe. You could argue he works his way into the top 10 just strictly based on just how much damage he's doing. And with all this extra stuff, it's just unfair. In terms of my conventional structure, slot 1 tank, slot 2 damage, slot 3 support, we've got that sort of set up right here. In terms of the other rotation, it might be a little bit of a mixed bag with some flexibility. Turles initially has extra protection, so he can handle the slot 1 responsibilities once. Metal Cooler is your multi-tool who can kind of handle any slot at all times. So he's got the dodge with AGL pickups. He's got extra stats with STR. He's got leeching abilities. He can also become a pretty decent tank himself because he gets up to 70% damage reduction. So he's no, he's no wimp. He can actually handle his own. But in general, initially, Cellmax can handle that slot 1, and then over time, as everybody else gets buffed up, you can switch him into a slot 3 position or something like that, and you can have the rotations be more like this, right? Maybe you can have the coolers together, and you can have the metal cool and the turles, something like that. So there is a level of flexibility here when it comes to this team. I think the only one that you probably wouldn't want to move would be this guy. He is he's your team captain, which is crazy to say with this guy existing, but yeah, he's your team captain. He's that good. He's so good. I might even do a video for best teams with just him, because I've been getting some requests for making these videos for like new EZAs, not just the new characters. But in terms of alternates, it's just any movie boss character. So what are some other ones? Well, units that can provide an extra level of regen would be good. So Turles is good for this. Physical Turles, 6% heal with each super attack. He does extra damage on his first turn. So what is that? What does he have on his first turn? He has 400% attack, right? So imagine that happening on the rotation with the Cellmax domain. He does extra damage. This guy actually is going to work very well on this team. This is the free-to-play Garlic Jr. He has good damage reduction. He has orb changing, which can help other units in terms of picking up their orbs. And he's got a revive. He doesn't even have to be the one to do it. If Metal Cooler executes the revive on the team, but this Garlic Jr. is actually on the squad, then he will benefit from that revival with his own extra stats. He will be getting attack and defense plus 60% for movie boss characters, and then chance to crit plus 30% for 3 turns. He'll get extra attack, extra comboing. Other characters, anybody else, like I said, attack redirection with the Golden Frieza, extra defense and dodging in the slot 3 with the Int Janemba. He is an old character, but he still cooks. He's still relevant, and he provides the crucial links that you really care about, right? Big bad bosses, Nightmare, Fierce Battle. So he's still good. And you got the usual AGL Golden Frieza. If you don't feel comfortable with any of these guys in the slot 1, you just bring in AGL Golden Frieza, and he can take over until he gets squishy. He's kind of like the Cellmax, where he gets squishy eventually too. So it's just a matter of what you want to do. But yeah, movie boss is top tier. Double Cellmax, absolute maximum carnage. Now we're taking a look at the androids team. Now this looks pretty bleak compared to the last team because the strings are just not as plentiful, but hear me out. The thing about this team is that every unit essentially supports everybody else, giving Cellmax extra synergy beyond the links. Remember, in the slot 1, Android 16 is not only, well, just in general, he provides 60% attack and defense for all allies that are androids, uncontrollable power. Then in slot 1, he will provide an additional defense plus 30%, additional attack plus 30% for androids, uncontrollable power. And if he launches his Link super attack with an Android 1718, you get an additional defense plus 50% for 2 turns. That's just Android 16 number 1. But if you're running double, you've got your structure pretty much set up with your tank in slot 1, providing those extra stats. If you want to run multiple Android 17s in the slot 2, maybe you can move the Cellmax into slot 3. The thing about this setup, though, you are not going to be utilizing his domain right away. Because unfortunately, on this team, as presently constructed, you don't have enough movie boss characters to do this. You need a full rotation. But the thing about this Android 16 setup is besides androids, you can actually run a Broly team. Because remember, this guy leads mission execution. Well, actually, he leads uncontrollable power with a secondary leader in mission execution, but mainly uncontrollable power, which is all the Broly characters. So there's 2 different versions of the Android 16 led team where you can set this up. But if you are still trying to run that turn 1 domain, you would have to have this guy be in the slot 3. If Android 16 does move into the slot 3, he does get more offensively oriented. He gets guaranteed crit, attack plus 160%. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want to bench him and not have him be the main focal point of your rotation. But what I've done here is I've basically set up where Android 16 will be slot 1, Cellmax will be slot 2, and then we are getting either a big bad boss additional link up in the slot 3, or we're just getting more support. Android 17 here has scouting. Android 17 here has guaranteed dodge 1 turn only in the slot 1. He also provides attack and defense plus 17% for 2 turns with multiple supers coming in. He's going to be launching a ton of attacks, and he also provides an additional 70%. So there's just stats all over the place. I don't think that this is going to be as optimal as the movie boss team. Nothing is. Movie bosses, like I said at the beginning of the video, is the ultimate way to get the most out of the Cellmax. But I do think that this is actually going to lead to the rise of the machines a little bit. I think we're going to see a little bit of a resurgence with androids. And this was something that we invested in early, like late 2025, we were starting to get some pretty nice androids along the way. Actually, in 2025, we had the Cell, Perfect Cell release. We had Android 16. We had this guy's EZA. So androids has been on the rise. This Cell Max definitely helps in terms of making it more consistent, but not top tier. But like I said, you could also just swap all these guys out. Also, that Perfect Cell's domain would help. This guy provides healing. So in terms of regen, we're going to be getting it from this guy's orb changing, this guy's healing per super. You would then have other options like bringing in additional uncontrollable power Majin Buu type characters. So Int Buhan will provide some heals. You also have a revive with Fat Buu. I also have the Super 17 listed here because he is your most synergized android character that could run alongside him. And since everybody's an android, he gets extra tankiness. Since he's in the slot 3, the likelihood that he gets taken out is going to be a little bit less. Plus, with all this extra stats rolling around, shouldn't be that bad. And then like I said, Broly. So let's like take all these guys out. Forget about the androids Link super attack. Let's just throw in all Brolys. Where the Broly's at? Boom, Broly's movie boss. Now they're not running at the best setup here because, you know, you see some 170s over here. This guy right here, I'm telling y'all right now, in about 6 months, when we get to the 12th anniversary, he is going to get his EZA. He will become a transcendent force of nature. When that time comes, a Broly setup might not be the worst idea. Right now, it's kind of aged a little bit, but I'm just saying, keep an eye on this. But there's 2 different ways to do this. And yeah, Android 16, great leader skill that can be utilized again. Well, we knew this was coming. Super Boss finally has a solid team because now, besides the Rosés, we have all extreme characters. We have the Big Bad Boss connection established on both rotations. We're getting extra attack boost from this guy just supering in slot 1. His tankiness might be a bit questionable in like some of the most difficult events, but in general, he will be a decent slot 1 character. Yeah, this is a weaker team compared to the movie bosses, but again, we're trying to make the best of what we got. And Super Boss has unfortunately been a team that we have to run occasionally for certain missions, so this is worth showing. And then our slot 3s, we got some support with the Broly trio. We've got, once again, the attack redirection with the Frieza. We've got Broly for... He also provides scouting for 1 turn, doesn't he? And then he also just gets stronger with long form events. So I do like this team. It's a little bit more basic, but I do like it. Super Boss is a joke. All right, Super Boss is an absolute joke. In terms of this guy's active, you're not as likely to get the domain, but it might be actually a little bit more likely on this team versus the androids team, because if we break formation here and we get the Rosé off the rotation, we move him over here. Well, now we have 2 out of every 3 rotations will be a full movie boss rotation. And when that happens, this guy will get to optimize his domain and utilize it once. Unfortunately, it'll only be once. So maybe it'll be something like on this first turn, he uses the domain, he sets up with extra damage, extra attack buffs, then he goes. And then actually we'll do this because he provides big bad bosses, right? Yeah. So this is where we get the extra damage. Then starting on turn 2, for whatever reason, Broly was on that first turn, maybe with, yeah, it'll be something like this. Broly can then also get the ball rolling, right? I mean, it's not ideal, but it is just a way to utilize the domain early. The setup here, though, it's not meant to get the most out of that domain. It's more so just to have a structurally sound team. So I still like it because Super Boss sucks. Anything other than what it once was is a good thing. And this is clearly better than what it used to be. Alternates. Good luck. There aren't many alternates. I've shown some here. Maybe this STR Cell Max gets an EZA. Until then, I mean, you know what? Actually, everybody here's a Super Boss. You know what? Why not? Bring in STR Cell Max. Because now he can finally use all of his abilities again. So yeah, throw him in there. Golden Frieza. I mean, at this point, it's just a joke, right? Like, nothing. But again, look out for this boy. AGL Broly. I'm telling y'all, when he gets that EZA during the 12th anniversary, it's on. We are combining the forces of light and dark. We got heroes and villains on one team under the Battle of Fate lead Frieza. Now, this is a great leader skill because it allows you to do this, but the problem is you now have to deal with multiple Friezas on the team. This guy's not very defensively sound. As long as you pick up enough orbs and a rainbow key sphere, when they inevitably reversibly exchange to the Goku, they should be an okay rear guard. So as long as you're okay with that, you'll be fine. Now, the main engine on this team are these 2 plus the Frieza Gokus. These guys can be whatever you want. This is essentially the premise that I wanted to demonstrate in this video, because you got to get the Friezas out of the way. Cell Max has a great link buddy with Goma, who provides Big Bad Boss. You have the Big Bad Boss connection, and you are going to be getting rotating defense for not only him, but everybody else. And as you saw, you had a couple of monkeys on the team, which is good because this is how you bring in extra offense. If you've got Daima Super Saiyan 4, he will provide extra attack for multiple turns if he gets his EX attack. You might have seen that I put the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta on the squad. This is one of my favorite pairings. The issue with this one, though, is because this is not a predominantly GT Heroes type team, your alternates are not going to involve characters that can provide rainbow orb changing. This guy needs rainbow orbs to maintain his slot 1 integrity as a tank. Aside from the turn 1, he then becomes a bit of an issue. So if you don't feel comfortable with something like this, or maybe this combination doesn't feel right with you, I actually think another good combination would be the Future Saga duo, because the Rose and the Goku are both infinite attack stackers and both require the other to maintain their passives. They either have to have a full super class rotation for this guy to thrive, or a full extreme class rotation for this guy to thrive, or as long as there's one Future Saga ally on the same rotation, that works. So these two can kind of work hand in hand. And the reason why I have Spirit Bomb GT here is just because he's got insane support when he gets his revive counter. You don't have to have that. You could have someone like a Spirit Bomb Z. You could have basically whatever you want. You could just run a full GT Hero setup that's Battle of Fate. So let's actually do something like that. So let's do Gogeta, Spirit Bomb GT, and then what will be another one? Throw in this dude, you know, something like that. But like I said, the engine, the core engine would be the two Friezas and the Cell Max with the Goma. Everybody else can just be interchangeable. So when it comes to alternates, you could run the Superhero Duo. Actually, that's a really good one. Superhero Duo, I would argue, might even be better. Because with Superhero Duo, you've got the Sensu Bean cleansing property. You've got extra synergy between the Gamma, Piccolo, Gohan, Gamma sort of setup. So that actually works very well. Oh, right there. That could work, right? Or you just do, the two Gammas. That could work. Spirit Bomb Z. Beast Gohan. Maybe you run Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku to provide everybody the extra attack juice. And then you put Beast Gohan in slot 2 so that he can get a ton of counters. Maybe there's a bunch of attacks happening in slot 2. Very conditional, but you get the point. So I do like this team. It's simple and easy to build. It's just a matter of what style you prefer. But this would probably be... Actually, I would probably rank this better than the Super Boss setup. Because, I mean, Super Boss is still weak. And now we get to my favorite segment of the video, no new units. What is that rule? It's basically any character that is returned as a coinable purchase under normal circumstances is usable on the no new units team. Any character that once released but hasn't yet come back wouldn't count. Tech Metal Cooler, as of this video, doesn't count. So this is my setup. Now, when it comes to this setup, you will only really have two options in terms of your leads. You're going to be running either Broly or you're going to be running Golden Frieza. Golden Frieza is a better leader skill with a better kit than the Brolys, obviously. When this guy gets his EZA, he will probably be superior. But since the Golden Frieza is the better option, we're going to start with that. Unfortunately, we do suffer a little bit in terms of the stats department because we are only getting a partial lead. But the thing is, because of this setup, we are able to bring in basically everybody from the first team in the video. Metal Cooler will dominate the rotation, assisted by the Final Form Cooler. So that rotation is pretty much taken care of. We have additional, besides this guy's regen, we've got the revival properties of this guy. We have additional regen from him because he also provides some healing through his super, but then also from his passive, right? No, not from the passive. I just made that up. Yeah, he provides additional regen from his super attack, but if your health is below 80%, he will launch an additional super attack. If your health is above 90%, which ideally you want it to be, he will get additional damage reduction for more rear guard action. So I actually think this guy, even though he's only getting a partial lead from the Frieza, he actually works very well as an additional support for Cell Max or just movie bosses in general. So, I mean, the question is just a matter of, are you okay with running a slightly lesser version of this team with 170% as your primary lead? You're gonna have to, if you want this guy to do well on a no new unit setup. But I like this a lot. In terms of alternates, it's just any movie boss. I don't really need to show it. Like, you could throw in Turles, you could throw in Broly, Janemba. I haven't been shouting at Janemba too much. He is a great piece because of his tankiness, his ability to nullify, big bad boss connection. So we got a lot of options for movie boss. Movie boss is in a very good place, both for whale teams and no new unit teams. And so the other version of this team, as you see on the right here, is just a Broly led no new units movie boss team. So for now, we're gonna have this Tech Broly as the lead. So we're once again just gonna set everything. Oh, you know what? Oops, I could have reversed it like this. Yeah. So I'm gonna remove you, and then I'm gonna put in this. I love that you can control Z. Dude, you can control Z this. Isn't that awesome? It's the same thing, right? It's the same setup. We made a couple of changes. We're bringing in like Wrathful Broly because Wrathful Broly would actually link up with the other Broly. So maybe it's going to be something more like this, right? You could just move Cell Max into the slot 3 altogether and forget about him opening with the, dang it, I hate when that stuff gets in the way. Like you do something like this, Cell Max can be in the slot 3 and maybe you just don't get him for the first couple of turns. And then when he does show up, he'll have his domain and then you have everybody else kind of just take over and he'll be a rear guard character, not necessarily being the focal point. You know, there's going to be multiple ways to do this. And then eventually when AGL Broly gets his leader skill, that is going to be, does everybody fit this? 200%. He doesn't fit. This guy doesn't fit. So we're going to lose a little bit here, but when this guy gets his lead, we're going to have more options. So maybe we'll do another video down the road when he gets his EZA. So that is our breakdown for the best teams for Cell Max. Hopefully you guys are able to put one of these sorts of squads together. Movie Boss is now officially among the top tier. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Leave in the comments your thoughts on some of the best teams to run with the Cell Max. Which team are you looking forward to running yourself? Which teams do you have? Which teams are you missing? Which characters are you missing? What is the one character that is missing before your team can become the ultimate version of itself? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.